Experience the adventure of climbing the steepest ladders in the American Southwest. From the historic hike across volcanic rock to the breathtaking views from high-altitude alcoves, we're taking you to Bandelier National Monument. This isn't just a hike, it's a journey into America's past.
Hi, today we are at Bandelier National Monument and we're checking out more ancient ruins. This just behind me here is the alcove house, and so this is going to be a very interesting climb because there's stairs with railings, so that's good, but then there's also some really tall ladders. So we're going to climb up here and get a sense of what life was like for the ancient Puebloans here just outside of Los Alamos, New Mexico.
Bandelier National Monument shares history with modern and ancient America. The monument lies at the base of Los Alamos and served as housing for workers working on the Manhattan Project. The casitas of Bandelier were considered a wonderful place to live by the nuclear scientists. And much like the Ancestral Puebloans, they too abandoned the site, leaving behind a history that is uniquely American.
There is a Kiva, and then there's this Pueblo site here with tiny little chambers in it. And then directly across are the dwellings. This is the Talus house that was reconstructed in the early 1900s. It's interesting because it leads in deeper into the cave with all this volcanic rock. They probably had natural chambers.
Bandelier was declared a national monument in 1916, then was transferred to the U.S. Forest Service in 1932. The superintendent, Boss Pinkley, knew that guests needed improved facilities so that they could easily visit the park. His drive to develop the park's guest services would eventually play a role in launching America into the nuclear age.
It is very busy today because it's free for Flag Day. Walking through this volcanic rock is really cool because it's kind of like they were living amongst a bunch of different hoodoos, and the volcanic rock is very different. It's almost like, the honeycomb in a beehive. So you can see like just how there's all these holes in the rock. Hopefully the camera is picking it up because it is just completely, it looks like a bone with osteoporosis almost. This is the cave Kiva that was an important cultural site, and it was vandalized, unfortunately, and so that's kind of a bummer. It looks like they've got it caged off. But it's interesting how they've got stacked stone around the windows. They've got wood around the windowsills. You can see all the way up there. And we'll turn around. See, this was the view on the other side of this canyon. And it's lush in here. There's trees. So cool to see a kiva like this in a cave instead of, a huge open circle. We're on the main loop from the visitor center, which is what takes you around a bunch of pueblos and the shorter ladders. And then there is going to be a spur off of the main loop that takes you to an area that has really tall ladders that you climb up to see some ancient ruins.
Bandelier was named after Swedish immigrant Adolph Bandelier. His relentless documentation of the area led to President Woodrow Wilson declaring it a national monument. Interestingly, he began his career as a banker. He was unhappy in his work and at 40 years old escaped to New Mexico to explore. That gives us all a little inspiration that it's never too late to pursue our dreams. Interestingly, his body was exhumed from its resting place in Spain in 1977, and his ashes were spread at Bandelier National Monument in 1980. The 3-year delay was caused by international logistics and coordinating the commemorative ceremony.
So it looks like this one had a chimney right there. You can see they've created a hole And so maybe this was a little bit more walled in at one point. And then there are some carvings up there that I can't quite tell if they're modern or not. But you can see that there are the remains of walls all through here, and they're not particularly big. That's what was striking, is that these chambers are small. So maybe it was used for storage or something. Well, what's nice about this trail too is that it's really well maintained. So if you're with people in your group who want to see some ruins but might have, a harder time walking, this is a good option. Although it is steep. You can see where they probably had poles or joists and had their wood ceilings and roofs all along here. I mean, they're perfectly, exactly symmetrical and spaced. So if you look right there, and so they had, multi-story buildings here. Look at all of that. This is pretty expansive. There's carvings all up through here that look like turkey feet. You can imagine that this was a large kind of apartment complex, or even like a bazaar where things were being traded. And there is a macaw petroglyph here that I'm really hoping to spot. There's a spiral.
Yeah, there's...
Maybe I'll see the macaw in the video when I'm editing it. I don't see it now.
There's
No.
like fingers. It looks like could be
Yeah,
something,
maybe.
but it's so big.
Well, and there's petroglyphs all through here. There's carvings. And so, look, like right there is another spiral and a zigzag. Sometimes that's a snake. Sometimes it's a river.
Lots of spirals.
That looks like a face, maybe. There's lots. Once you pause and look, there are
The alien head.
tremendous amounts of carvings. And it's harder to spot here because they don't have that desert patina. What was it called?
Varnish.
Desert varnish. The minerals from the wind that they were carving into. So here's a panel that's been preserved. They've got it behind plexiglass here.
Oh, wow.
That's really pretty.
Look at the hearts, like the canyons now. It makes sense how they have the zigzags up and downs. And like, yeah.
It's just, it's towering. It's absolutely towering. And what's cool, is this trail is just lined with these cactus. And it looks like we missed the bloom. The trail now leads away from the wall of the canyon and down into what looks like might be a riverbed, but either way we're heading into some trees and some shade, which is going to be nice. Instantly cooler. So you can see this is where we were. So you can see where they had like the multiple stories, and they like up here is where it looked like they were able to walk up, and there's more carvings in there. And it just goes all along. All right, so we are going to head over to the alcove house, half a mile. So they're giving us some info here. It's a 140-foot vertical ascent via ladders and stairs. If you are scared of heights or have health problems, don't attempt the climb. So I'm kind of nervous, I'm not gonna lie. I've specifically been avoiding Mesa Verde because of the ladders. So maybe this will be kind of like I didn't realize this was here. So maybe this will be kind of my way of knowing whether or not Mesa Verde is my cup of tea or not. And the thing is, I can go up all day long. It's the coming down
Little did I know that the ladders here are actually taller than the ladders at Mesa Verde. Also, at Bandelier, you have to climb down the ladders, but at Mesa Verde, the balcony house tour never requires you to climb down. I probably should have researched a little bit more before coming to Bandelier first.
And there's water. That's the one thing that's been missing on all of our exploration of ancient ruins. This one seems much more hospitable to life. So it's kind of, a puzzle to discern what would have been a moki and what would have been just a natural crevice. And so we started out at the visitor center and started in the main trail, then links around to this additional hike that serves you with a pretty decent warning of whether or not you want to come on it. And so I think that if you're nervous about doing something that requires a little bit more heights and climbing, you are just as well served on the main loop, because you see a tremendous amount of ruins that way. So there you go. There are the ladders. There's people heading up right through there. Of course, there's a little child. So if I can't do it, I'll be properly humiliated and humbled. Woo-wee. It's interesting, the contrast of the solid slab with all of the holes in the rocks and the little caverns. And it's definitely a visual feast. All right, 140-foot vertical ascent. Right, so we've made it up the first ladder and we're now going up some stairs. We're trying to pace ourselves so that we're not clustered up with other people so they don't feel rushed and so we don't feel rushed. And I'm going to flip it around so you can see what the stairs are like. So as you can see, there's a nice railing and the stairs are great. This ladder is a little bit more exposed. You got cliff on one side and then the other side is more open to the canyon. There's two ladders right in a row. The one Chad's going up here. This is the one I just filmed him coming up. And so as he ascends, I'm going to flip around and show what this what these volcanic hoodoos look like, or maybe the beginning of hoodoos or the end of hoodoos, I don't know. And he's up and I'm going up. That ladder had a little slope. It's very solid, but kind of like a little lean. It's a nice short ladder. And then look, you can see through these. We're thinking this must have been a restoration because a lot of them have, like, you can see where their hands imprinted the mortar. And this doesn't seem to have, it's just too perfect and too smooth. And a lot of the ones we've seen, they also embedded smaller rocks into the mortar.
It's a portal.
Chad's room. A portal. Portal back to Pagosa. Okay, so now we're going to go back down the ladders and hope there's not a lot of people waiting to come up, but that's okay. And then we're going to make our way around the rest of the loop of the main trail. So, all right, down we go. Yeah, these sandy steps have got people losing traction, and there's brooms actually up here. Now we know why. They probably come sweep these off. I love that there's handles.
Yeah.
I feel like I can go up all day long, but going down's like, for some reason, it's
Well, it's a little slick then.
yeah, they're super smooth. The final ladder.
Going down.
Whoop. I think this is the longest ladder. All right, my turn. We did it. We made it down the longest ladders, and so now we're heading back through this little cutout of rock, which is super narrow and really cool. So let me show you guys. So this is just narrow for your feet, not your body. Last ladder, and you're down. What'd you think?
I liked it. It was good.
You think you're ready for Mesa Verde?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think I'm ready. Definitely, it'd be fun. I think Mesa Verde has a lot of ladders, from what I hear. I did it as a kid, but I don't really remember it because I think I was like 10 or 11, maybe younger.
Back
And-
before you knew fear.
Yeah.
All right. See. So smell a ponderosa on a hot day, and it smells like the most wonderful vanilla. So now we're down, and we were up there. You can see people going up, and now we're gonna head back towards the main trail. These bugs, they stain your hands, and they were used to make the dye for different pottery or for their petroglyphs. See how red it is? I just want to show you guys the contrast and how lush these ruins are in comparison to what it was like in Bluff and the canyons of the ancients. The big mystery to me was always, how could you live here with no water? And then you come to a place like this where clearly water still exists, and you see just how populated the area was. There just had to have been thousands of people who lived through here. Look at this massive yucca.
Yeah, that is the neatest. I didn't know they grew like that.
That's a monolithic yucca. To see these ancient ruins in a place where you can actually see how functional life could have been. Like, there's water, there's trees, there's plenty of wood for firewood, and you know that you could just thrive. It's not like the desert where you feel like you're gonna die at any minute. If you're into this kind of thing, check out Bandelier. It is unique, 100% its own thing. I hope that you enjoyed our tour through Bandelier. Let us know what you thought. Bye.